Hello everybody and welcome to the bookshelf tour that I really should have made ages ago, but finally I've actually cleaned up my bookshelves because normally there's like shit everywhere on them. But I've decided today to film a bookshelf tour. I've finally gotten over my fear of doing a bookshelf tour, so I will be taking you through the disaster that is my bookshelf. Okay, just a couple of facts about my bookshelf and about this tour that I really quickly have to phrase out. One of them is, I'm 5'5", and that's the top of my bookshelf, so I'm pretty short, so I'm going to try my hardest to get up there, but let's see how it goes. The second thing is that I have 4 shelves in my room that are specifically allocated to books. Well, 3.5 because one of them is like, it's also got a heap of other stuff on it. But I have approximately 410 books, which is a lot. So I will be doing this in 2 parts. I will be doing a quick kind of overview of the shelves and kind of which books are on which shelf, and then I'm going to do a longer version, which is where I like go through and show the covers and stuff, which hopefully people stay to watch because this is going to take me a while to film. Another thing real quick is that the way my books are organised, so from shelf to shelf there isn't really any organisation. Like, I don't have just young adult on one bookshelf and just historical on the other, but I do organise them within like the actual singular shelf itself. So I have a small organisational system which goes in height, and then it goes in kind of colour. So if I have a tall paperback, which is black, it will go before the short paperback, which is white. Yeah, basically that's the easiest way I can phrase it. You'll see, because it's pretty obvious in some shelves how like intense my colour coding is, but I hope you enjoy! Okay, so my first bookshelf, which is the one that none of you see because it's in the opposite side of my room, is the one next to my bed and next to my window. I use it as a tripod sometimes when I film, but this is just a quick overview of the shelves. There's me. This is the weird shelf where I've got 2 shelves filled with books and the other just filled with shit. Then I have these 2 shelves here, which are absolutely packed. So, top shelf of this bookshelf next to my bed, they're basically art books. I love collecting art books, like folio books and stuff. That I have the art of Avatar, the art of Howl's Moving Castle, the art of Tangled and stuff, and I have just books from my childhood. I have the box from the Harry Potter box set, and my piggy bank, and a small Toothless. So this is a shelf where it's not really like filled with literature, so sorry. This is what I call the shit shelf. It's basically just books where I have nowhere else to put them. So I have a couple books from childhood, books that don't really fit into a category, books that are awkward heights like mass market paperback, so they are all located here. Next shelf over here is series, hardback young adult series that I will get into later on, but you can see here that this is indeed ordered in colour. Very much so. Down here I have 6 book series that are young adult, and they're mostly grouped together in author, obviously shown by a whole Rochelle Mead collection over there, but yeah. And finally, last shelf on this bookshelf is just a couple of hardcovers. I have my really awkward short hardcovers here, which include classics and like the Summer Days and Summer Nights and Stephanie Perkins like collection of short stories, and most of the books here I haven't read or I need to reread, so it's good having them all in one place. Moving on to the next bookshelf, this is the tall skinny one that is only kind of partly used for books. The top shelf is hardcover, tall hardcover books that are mostly fantasy, and they are ordered in colours. I have blue up here and metallics. This is just a like average size hardcover shelf. Most of these are standalones apart from the Heroes of Olympus series, which I've got right there, but most of these are, yep, standalones. Going on to here, I have my Amy Kaufman Shrine and some average size hardcovers. Here are hardcover trilogies and like the last book of 2 trilogies just stuck there individually for various reasons. I have paperback trilogies here. And these two shelves down here are filled with like what I call the nostalgia books, which are books or manga from my childhood. As you can see, there's a lot of manga that I have because I don't want to get rid of them. Or I might one day, but not anytime soon. And finally, the last shelf I have here, bookshelf, I mean, not actual shelf. I have tall hardcovers and some stacked, like, medium-sized hardcover fantasies. I just have a bunch of hardcovers here for, you know, aesthetic purposes. Another shit shelf 2.0 where basically books go when I don't know where to put them. This is just a collection of a couple hardcovers, but mostly paperbacks. This was once a pretty shelf. It is no more. It is not a pretty shelf anymore. Mostly new adult, I will say. There is quite a lot of new adult here. And finally, down here I have paperback series that are over 5 books, and I will get into the series in there later. So this is kind of what I'm working with here. If you want to continue on to the detailed book by book kind of tour, please get a snack, get a drink, preferably not alcohol, but you know, you can watch this totally drunk in the bathtub, I won't judge. But yeah, enjoy! Shelf number 1 on the bookshelf closest to my bed. Things are kind of everywhere. This is the shit shelf, so I'm just kind of going to show books as they are, so good luck trying to decipher everything. Book number 1 in this bookshelf tour is The Good People by Hannah Kent, The Key to Rondo by Emily Rodda, Dead Girls Sing by Toby Cavanaugh, The Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children graphic novel by Ransom Riggs and Cassandra Jean, The Violinist's Thumb by Sam Keane, Nicholas and Alexandra by Robert K. Massey, my original paperback Australian edition of The Darkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken, Love Fortunes and Other Disasters by Kimberly Corralius, the first 2 books in the Miss Peregrine's trilogy by Ransom Riggs, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children and Hollow City, The Fault in Our Stars by John Green, Burial Rites by Hannah Kent, The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald, Surviving Sydney Cove, The Diary of Elizabeth Harvey by Goldie Alexander, The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak, Dancing in the Dark by Robin Bavardi, The Secret Life of Maeve Lee Kwong by Kirsty Murray, Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn, The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, I'm Not Scared by Niccolo Amaniti, The Worst Book in the Universe, otherwise known as Girl with a Pearl Earring by Tracy Chevalier, Jasper Jones by Craig Silvey, Winning Words by William Seagart, a shit ton of poets, and Sebastian Faulks, Behind the Beautiful Forevers by Catherine Boo, Storm Dancer by J. Christoph, 1984 by George Orwell, my 2 Arthur Miller plays, The Crucible and Death of a Salesman, The Selection Stories by Kiara Cass, Holes by Louis Sachar, The Ruby Talisman by Belinda Morell, To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee, A Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin, and a whole shit ton of mass market paperbacks I really don't want to get into. First 3 books are the Mara Dyer trilogy by Michelle Hodkin, The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer, The Evolution of Mara Dyer, and The Retribution of Mara Dyer. Next I have the first and second book in the Snow Like Ashes trilogy by Sarah Rush, Snow Like Ashes, and Ice Like Fire. Then I have all of the Lunar Chronicles, the whole thing by Marissa Meyer, Fairest, Cinder, Scarlet, Cress, Winter, and Stars Above. Then I have the Kiara Cass Shrine over there, The Siren by Kiara Cass, and the whole of the Selection series with The Selection, The Elite, The One, Happily Ever After, The Heir, and The Crown. And finally, I have the Lux series by Jennifer L. Armentrout. Lux Beginnings, which is a bind-up of the first 2 books, Obsidian and Onyx. Lux Consequences, which is a bind-up of books 3 and 4, Opal and Origin. And the final book, Opposition, with the novella Shadows kind of just chucked in there. Next shelf, I have the Bloodline series by Rochelle Mead, Bloodlines, The Golden Lily, The Indigo Spell, The Fiery Heart, Silver Shadows, and finally the Ruby Circle. Then I have the prequel series to the Bloodline series, the Vampire Academy series, also by Rochelle Mead. Vampire Academy, Frostbite, Shadow Kiss, Blood Promise, Spirit Bound, and Last Sacrifice. Next I have the Mortal Instruments series by Cassandra Clare, which you will note is not near the rest of my Cassandra Clare books because these are in paperback. City of Bones by Cassandra Clare, City of Ashes, City of Glass, City of Fallen Angels, City of Lost Souls, and with this slightly altered cover that really pisses me off, City of Heavenly Fire. And finally, last thing on this shelf is the Cherub series by Robert Muchmore, which I am not going to show because I can't be bothered. This shelf is so close to the floor that I'm actually quite literally sitting on the floor to get to it. Also, my camera won't, actually fucking look good while filming this shelf. That makes no sense whatsoever. Compulsion by Martina Boone, Starflight by Melissa Landers, The Program Duology by Suzanne Young, The Program, and The Treatment. The Under the Never Sky trilogy by Veronica Rossi, Under the Never Sky, Through the Evernight, and Into the Still Blue. The first 3 books in the Raven Cycle Quartet by Maggie Stiefvater, The Raven Boys, The Dream Thieves, and Blue Lily Lily Blue. The first 2 books in the Ugly series by Scott Westerfeld, Uglies, and Pretties. My True Love Gave to Me, edited by Stephanie Perkins, Summer Days and Summer Nights, also edited by Stephanie Perkins, Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell, Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens, and The Sonnets and a Lover's Complaint by William Shakespeare. And because this shelf is even too high for my tripod to reach, I have to do this by hand, so I am very sorry. The Crown's Game by Evelyn Skye, the first 2 books in the Red Queen series by Victoria Aveyard, Red Queen, and Glass Sword. The rest of the Cassandra Clare kind of collection I have got going on. The Shadowhunters Codex by Cassandra Clare and Joshua Lewis, Clockwork Angel, Clockwork Prince, and Clockwork Princess, which make up the Infernal Devices trilogy. The Bane Chronicles by Cassandra Clare, Sarah Reese Brennan, and Maureen Johnson. And finally, Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare. I've got my 2 kind of pop figure things here. I've got my Draco, which came in the July L crate, and the Naveen or Frog Tiana one, which came in the June L crate. I've got 2 pairs of sunnies, which have nowhere else to live, so they're there. And something my friend made me. It's really cute. The Heroes of Olympus series by Rick Riordan, The Lost Hero, The Son of Neptune, The Mark of Athena, The House of Hades, and The Blood of Olympus. The Scorpio Races by Maggie Stiefvater, Dumplin' by Julie Murphy, Alienated by Melissa Landers, Illusions of Fate by Kirsten White, and The Night We Said Yes by Lauren Gabaldi. My Life Next Door, and What I Thought Was True, both by Huntley Fitzpatrick. Summer of Chasing Mermaids by Sarah Ockler, and The Wrong Side of Right by Jen Marie Thorne, which is... Okay, it stopped glaring now. There we go. The first 2 books in the Illuminae trilogy by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff, Illuminae, and Gemina. The Starbound trilogy by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner, These Broken Stars, This Shattered World, and Their Fractured Light. The Unexpected Everything by Morgan Matson, Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson, Truest by Jackie Leah Summers, and Passenger by Alexandra Bracken. The Hunger Games trilogy by Suzanne Collins, The Hunger Games, Catching Fire, and Mockingjay. Next I have the Darkest Minds series by Alexandra Bracken, The Darkest Minds, Never Fade, In the Afterlight, and Through the Dark. The Divergent trilogy by Veronica Roth, Divergent, Insurgent, and Allegiant. Then I have the Winners trilogy by Marie Rakowski, The Winner's Curse, The Winner's Crime, and The Winner's Kiss. Then I have the Defy trilogy by Sarah B. Larson, Defy, Ignite, and Endure. The Forever Song by Julie Kagawa, Life Before Legend by Marie Lu, the Legend trilogy by Marie Lu, Legend, Prodigy, and Champion. The Delirium trilogy by Lauren Oliver, Delirium, Pandemonium, and Requiem. Okay, this shelf is gonna be a disaster, but let's go! Forgotten, Revived, and the Originals, all by Kat Patrick. The 100 trilogy by Cass Morgan, The 100, Day 21, and Homecoming. The Original Study trilogy by Maria V. Schneider, Poison Study, Magic Study, and Fire Study. The first 3 books in the Gone series by Michael Grant, Gone, Hunger, and Lies. The Maze Runner trilogy by James Dashner, The Maze Runner, The Scorched Trials, and The Death Cure. The Lindburn Legacy trilogy by Sarah Reese Brennan, Unspoken, Untold, and Unmade. The Sweet trilogy by Wendy Higgins, Sweet Evil, Sweet Peril, and Sweet Reckoning. The Girl of Fire and Thorns by Ray Carson, Graffiti Moon by Kath Crowley, Flawed by Cecilia Ahern, Nightfall by Jack Halpine and Peter Kujawinski, and The White Rabbit Chronicles by Gina Showalter, Alice in Zombieland, Through the Zombie Glass, which I'm currently reading, so that's going to get chucked over there. Woo! Touchdown! And Queen of Zombie Hearts. The stupid, fucking, unmatching Across the Universe trilogy by Beth Revis, Across the Universe, The Ugly as Shit, A Million Suns, and the relatively good-looking but still very unattractive Shades of Earth. The Penryn and the End of Days series trilogy thing by Susan E., Angel Fall, World After, and End of Days. The Howl's Moving Castle companion trilogy thing by Diana Vine-Jones, Howl's Moving Castle, Castle in the Air, and House of Many Ways. And finally, the massive Chaos Walking trilogy by Patrick Ness, The Knife of Never Letting Go, The Ask and the Answer, which just threw off my white balance, and Monsters of Men. You can see my shadow here. Whee! This shelf was a relatively kind of simple shelf, so I'm going to go through these as fast as I possibly can. I have the first 8 books in the Pretty Little Liars Empire by Sarah Shepard. Pretty Little Liars, Flawless, Perfect, Unbelievable, Wicked, Killer, Heartless, and Wanted. The Confessions of Georgia Nicholson series by Louise Renison, Angus Thongs and Full Frontal Snogging, I'm Wearing Really Big Knickers, Knocked Out by My Nunga Nungas, Dancing in My Nudie Pants, and That's When It Fell Off in My Hand, Then He Ate My Boy in Trances, Startled by His Fairy Shorts, Love is a Many Trousered Thing, Stop in the Name of Pants, and finally, Are These My Pazumas I See Before Me? Yeah, the names are kind of weird, but they're fantastic. Then I have my whole Naoko Takeuchi shrine over here. I am a very massive Sailor Moon fan, as you can probably tell. Codename Sailor V Volume 1 and Codename Sailor V Volume 2. And the Sailor Moon section, let's do it. Sailor Moon Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4, Volume 5, Volume 6, Volume 7, Volume 8, Volume 9, Volume 10, Volume 11, Volume 12, and finally Sailor Moon Short Stories 2. I never got around to buying Short Stories 1, and now I'm not sure where it could be. This is literally the hardest angle to line up, but I make sacrifices. Various books in the Flood series by Colin Thompson. The Flood's Neighbours, The Flood's Home and Away, The Flood's Prime Suspect, and The Flood's The Great Outdoors. And here we get to the manga collection. Well, the rest of it. Sailor Moon was only a brief kind of thing. Kitchen Princess by Natsumi Ando and Miyuki Kobayashi. Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, and mysteriously Volume 7. Next I have the Peach Pit fucking collection, which includes Shugo-chara amongst their various other series, but let's just go on to Shugo-chara because it's my favourite. Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4, Volume 5, Volume 6, Volume 7, Volume 8, Volume 9, Volume 10, Volume 11, and Volume 12. Almost all of the Dear series, also by Peach Pit. Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 5, Volume 6, and Volume 7. Alice in the Country of Hearts by Sumai Hoshino and Quinn Rose. I've got most of the Bizinga series by M. Alice Legro. Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4, Volume 5, and Volume 6. Then I've got a mishmash, whatever it is, of Fruits Basket volumes, which, you know, don't necessarily make sense, but here we go. Volume 6, Volume 8, Volume 9, and Volume 10. All by Natsuki Takaya. Hey. Oops, forgot Volume 16! Volume 1 of Princess Ai by Misaho Kujirado, Courtney Love, and DJ Milky. Rose and Maiden, also by Peach Pit. And Ultramaniac by Wataru Yoshizumi. Okay, I did not want to have to hold my camera again because this shelf is way too tall. This is only how far I can reach. It's not very far. So I'm gonna have to put it like that and just hope for the best. First 2 books I have here are the first 2 books in the Court of Thorns and Roses series by Sarah J. Maas, A Court of Thorns and Roses, and A Court of Mist and Fury. Magonia by Maria Devana Headley, The Fifth Wave trilogy by Rick Yancey, The Fifth Wave, The Infinite Sea, and The Last Star Gathering Darkness by Morgan Rhodes, The Glittering Court by Rochelle Mead, All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr, The Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy by Laini Taylor, Daughter of Smoke and Bone, Days of Blood and Starlight, and Dreams of Gods and Monsters. The Martian by Andy Weir, the first 2 books in the Remnant Chronicles by Mary E. Pearson, The Kiss of Deception, and The Heart of Betrayal. The Orphan Queen duology by Jodi Meadows, nice save, The Orphan Queen, and The Mare King. And finally, the last book on the top shelf, This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab. This is one of my favourite shelves on my bookshelf thing because I don't know why, I just love it. Landline by Rainbow Rowell, The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender by Leslie Walton, Trouble is a Friend of Mine by Stephanie Tromley, Ruined by Amy Tintera, The Fixer duology by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, The Fixer, and The Long Game. Isla and the Happily Ever After by Stephanie Perkins, the first 2 books in the Conspiracy of Us duology by Maggie Hall, The Conspiracy of Us, and Map of Fates. My Lady Jane by Cynthia Hand, Brodie Ashton, and Jodi Meadows, and The Problem with Forever by Jennifer L. Armentrout. P.S. I Like You by Casey West, Things We Know by Heart by Jessie Kirby, The Wrath and the Dawn duology by Renee Ardy, The Wrath and the Dawn, and The Rose and the Dagger. And one of my favourite trilogies of all time, because I finished it the other day, massive shout out to the Firebird trilogy by Claudia Gray. 1,000 Pieces of You, 10,000 Skies Above You, and A Million Worlds with You. This is Lenny, My Little Silver Dachshund, Loop by Karen Akins, the Rebel Belle trilogy by Rachel Hawkins, Rebel Belle, Miss Mayhem, and Lady Renegades. What used to be the To All the Boys I've Loved Before duology, which is now the first 2 books in a new trilogy, To All the Boys I've Loved Before, and P.S. I Still Love You, both by Jenny Han. Second Chance Summer, and Amy and Roger's Epic Detour, both by Morgan Matson. Okay, next shelf. Winifred the Camel, which resides on my shelf for no particular reason, and Dolores the Elephant, which also resides on my shelf for no particular reason. The history of notable shadow hunters and denizens of the Downworld, told in the language of flowers, by Cassandra Clare and Cassandra Jean. The Improbability of Love by Hannah Rothschild. The Disruption duology by Jessica Shervington. Disruption, which, wait, there we go. It's a face. And Corruption. Finding Audrey by Sophie Kinsella. Night Film by Marisha Pessel. The first 2 books in the Embassy Row trilogy by Ellie Carter. 3rd book coming out in a month. Cannot Breathe. Oh my god. All Fall Down. And See How They Run. The Sempre duology by J.M. Darhauer. Sempre. And Sempre Redemption. The Sea of Tranquility by Katja Millet. I've Got Your Number by Sophie Kinsella. The Distance Between Us. On the Fence. And The Fill-In Boyfriend, all by Casey West. Warm Bodies by Isaac Marion, Something in Between by Melissa De La Cruz, The Bronze Horseman by Paulina Simons, Northern Lights by Philip Pullman, Losing It by Cora Carmack, The Darkest Part of the Forest by Holly Black, The Coldest Girl in Coaltown by Holly Black, If I Stay by Gail Foreman, Looking for Alaska, An Abundance of Catherines, and Paper Downs, all by John Green, Until Friday Night by Abby Glines, Shut Out, The Duff, and A Midsummer Nightmare, all by Cody Keplinger, Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell, Before I Fall by Lauren Oliver, and my original paperback copy of Delirium by Lauren Oliver. The first 5 volumes of Saga by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4, and Volume 5. The Body Electric by Beth Revis, Anna and the French Kiss, and Lola and the Boy Next Door. Books number 1 and 2 in the Blood of Eden series, yep, that's what it's called, by Julie Kagawa. The 3rd and final book is up on a previous shelf. The Immortal Rules, and The Eternity Cure. Ugly Love, Hopeless, Losing Hope, Finding Cinderella, Maybe Someday, November 9, Maybe Not, Confess, and Slammed, all by Colleen Hoover. Thicker Than Water by Bridget Kemmerer, The Book of Ivy duology by Amy Engel, The Book of Ivy, and The Revolution of Ivy. Oblivion by Jennifer L. Armentrout, the first 3 books in the Wait For You series companion thing by Jaylyn, or Jennifer L. Armentrout if you want her other name. Wait For You, Be With Me, and Stay With Me. Frigid by Jennifer L. Armentrout, Scorched by Jennifer L. Armentrout, the first 2 books in the Wicked trilogy by Jennifer L. Armentrout, Wicked, and Torn. The Return by Jennifer L. Armentrout, the Shatter Me series by Tahereh Mafi, Unite Me by Tahereh Mafi, Shatter Me, Unravel Me, and Ignite Me. Cruel Crown by Victoria Aveyard, and what I think is the Dark Element series. Is it called the Dark Element series by Jennifer L. Armentrout? White Hot Kiss, Stone Cold Touch. And because sometimes Australian covers aren't so bad, the matching cover for Every Last Breath. And finally, on my last shelf, I have my Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling, the wand I made when I was younger, and the letter from Hogwarts that my friend gave me because she had a Harry Potter themed birthday, and this is the dankest thing ever. Like, you don't understand, this is amazing. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. This is an American edition, so it is Sorcerer, not Philosopher, still salty. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, and finally Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. Next I've got the Gallagher Girls series by Ellie Carter, I'd Tell You I Love You But Then I'd Have to Kill You, Cross My Heart and Hope to Spy, Don't Judge a Girl by Her Cover, Only the Good Spy Young, Out of Sight, Out of Time, and United We Spy. Next I've got the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas, The Assassin's Blade, Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, Heir of Fire, Queen of Shadows, and lastly, Empire of Storms. The Covenant series by Jennifer L. Armentrout, which is kind of up and about the Throne of Glass series because I got no room anymore. Half-Blood, Pure, Deity, Apollyon, and Sentinel. And finally, the last set of books on my shelves, I have the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series by Rick Riordan. The Lightning Thief, The Sea of Monsters, The Titan's Curse, The Battle of the Labyrinth, and The Last Olympian. I wiped off all my makeup and forgot to film the outro, so this is going to be my outro. Just imagine me standing here. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you have a great afternoon, and I will see you soon with another video. Bye!